All right, so what's up, everybody? We are here with Ivy Miller, and she's from Ivy Ann Shears.
Yes, Ivy and
All right,
Professional Shears.
so Ivy Ann, or Ivy, we're on a Facebook group together, and we started chatting back and forth, and she kind of opened my eyes up to the shear industry. And this video is going to be more or less not just educational for the stylist, because you're going to get a lot out of this too, any stylist watching. But I feel like a lot of clients also have no idea what goes into our tools.
Yeah,
And when you think of a professional, right, you think of like doctors, surgeons, things like that. They have tools. Mechanics have tools. But stylists actually put a lot of money into their tools. And there's so many people out there taking advantage of stylists who don't understand a good shear from a bad shear. Just because it has a price tag on it of, $800 to $1,000 doesn't necessarily make it a good shear. And we were chatting back and forth on Facebook, and she just kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of just not, I can't say corruption, but a lot of companies who take advantage of stylists who are not in the know. So I would give us a chance
they're
to
taking advantage of our naivety, really.
naivety. Give us an introduction how you got involved with starting a shear company. Are you a stylist? Were you a stylist?
I am.
Oh,
I've been
correct. Okay.
licensed. So I was licensed in Ohio originally, and then when I moved to North Carolina, I transferred my license down here, and I've been behind the chair really until the pandemic hit, and it
Okay.
wasn't a thing to be behind the chair anymore. And then that's kind of what put me on the path to starting this company. I have a partner who, we live together and we're, in it together or whatever. But he brought it up when I was working with another shear or with another company that they say they manufacture their own shears, but I don't know how honest that is. But I was working with another company who does something similar. And I and one other girl who got hired when I got hired were the only two people in this whole company who were licensed cosmetologists. So that was
Really?
like red flag number one. There were a bunch of other things that had happened,
So it
but
was a scissor company that you worked for, but no one really ever did hair.
no, that's why they were so eager to hire myself and this other,
Okay.
stylist, because they were like, oh my God, somebody who actually knows, what they're talking about essentially.
What did they hire you for? You were just doing education for them?
So my title was educational director, and basically that's just a fancy way of saying door-to-door salesman. Yeah, I would
Uh,
go into these cosmetology classes not really, knowing anything about these students or the schools or, really anything about the different states' laws.
okay.
I would just go in with my little carrying case of my shears and, give them my spiel and tell them whatever they needed to hear. And then I would report back as soon as I was done with all my sales and tell them, I made X amount of dollars and here's your receipts. And then that was it.
Because Hanzo does that. They go around
Yeah,
from salon to salon, and
yeah,
they have a friend who bought a pair, and they call me up. Oh, I'm sending my Hanzo rep over, and
right.
I'm not going to talk
So
good or bad about the company, unless you want to. I mean, I have two pairs, and it's like they're really expensive, and to me, I wouldn't say they suck. I just feel like for the money,
they
I
don't
found,
hold up.
yeah, I
Yeah.
found shears that just are better that I've had for years, and I always find myself going back to them. Like I have a pair of Knicks from 20 years ago
Right.
that I still use to this day because I can't find a replacement as good as them that's as comfortable for me. Because I think there's so many different shapes now. You have like
Oh yeah.
offset handles, flat handles, you have this handle, you have that handle, then you have the one
Right.
that's off the side, and it's like your thumb is swinging around somewhere
Yeah.
trying to
Swivel.
grab it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you, in your company, do you have all
Oh
kinds of
yeah. We've
shears?
got
Okay.
we've got pretty much one of everything. We've got everything from like your basic lefty starter shear that's just like what you would find in a Paul Mitchell kit,
Okay.
or something as advanced as I think we were looking into a double swivel at one point, which is like both finger rings swivel.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain. It's a very hard visual to come up with, but they're pretty interesting.
What is your best selling shear?
Yeah, I think our best-selling shear right now is it the Elite Crane? The Elite Crane. And
Okay.
I can show it to you if you want.
Yeah, let me see it.
Yeah. So that's what they look like.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, just like your basic crane, it's a nice. I think the reason these are my best seller is because the curve of the blade, like the angle that the blade sits at, it helps to reduce that like need to raise your elbows. So it's better for them to learn to keep their arms in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of shears, there's dry cutting and wet cutting shears, or is there no difference between the two? Because I was told that you should use different shears for wet and different shears for dry, which is what I've been doing. And I
Right.
feel like my dry shears get so dull so fast.
And that's the only reason anybody will ever tell you to get a pair of shears
Okay.
for dry cutting and wet cutting, because wet cutting, it's going to glide through the hair a lot easier and you're going to get a lot more edge retention. But when you do those dry cuts, I mean, the hair doesn't feel like it's a tough, thing to cut. But when you think about it doing over and over and over and over again, if you're cutting through like mass quantities, it's bound to dull them out pretty quickly.
Yeah, and plus dealing with different types of hair textures, it's coarse, it's thick, and you're cutting section after section after section.
Exactly.
So they do dull really quick. Is there a particular kind of steel that you manufacture that's better for dry cutting that might hold up longer?
So this is where it gets a little shady in the industry, because everybody claims that their shears are, Hitachi ATS 314 and, VG10 and whatever, other, VG 314 or whatever they want to claim it is. So there's one company that manufactures the steel quality ATS 314, which is what our entire line is, because I won't stand for anything less than that. That's like, they call it the Rolls Royce of steel qualities. But I won't stand behind anything else than that, because I know that that's what's going to hold up. That's what's going to keep its edge retention for, year after year, rather than every month or so you have to send your shears back in. So the company that we get our shears from, they're called Yamamura. They're in the city that they're in Japan is labeled the City of Steel, the City of Swords, because they were like the OG, steel producer and forger and blacksmiths. Like Yamamura is where it all began.
For like samurai swords, even.
Yeah. And
is that you're talking to your husband, boyfriend? Is your husband or boyfriend on the side over there?
Yeah, he's right here.
You want to jump in the camera? He could jump right in, pull up a chair too.
He's been doing work on our shed, so ignore his handyman outfit. Come down here.
Hey, what's happening? Are you a stylist too, or no?
No. I am more so on the.
He's my tech guy.
Yeah, the tech guy, the media guy, the sourcing stuff from Japan and stuff.
Basically, if it has to be done on the internet, he does it, because I don't have any idea what I'm doing.
Cool.
Like, no idea.
I've been more so involved with like the sourcing of stuff, and I'll be honest, the companies. This is all public data. You can go on Google and go on Import Genius and see where companies like Hanzo and Shark Fin are getting their shears from, and they all come from China. It's a customs thing. When something comes from another country, it has to be reported, and there's no reported anything from Japan. They're getting all their stuff from China, and I would send messages to these suppliers that I found, and they send certificates saying they get ATS 314 steel from Tekfu Steel in Japan, which Tekfu Steel doesn't make ATS 314, and I have emails from their representatives who just so we have records to verify. We say, hey, do you guys make this? And they say, no, that's not our steel. We would never do that. And I send them a copy of the certificate that the supplier sends me, and they're wow. Oh, that's not ours.
And it's falsified.
And these companies are putting these certificates on their websites.
Yeah.
And people don't even realize.
That's wild.
I know, it's insane. But in those companies' defense, like I know I'm competition or whatever, but in their defense, a lot of these Chinese brands are claiming that they're selling what they're saying they're selling, and those certificates, they look real.
I personally don't trust shit from China.
No,
I don't trust anything. I don't.
And so, here's the thing. Here's the way that you can really tell. On the inside of Japanese shears, when you take them apart, they will say they're from Japan, and a lot have started marking them on the outside, so it's more easy to see. And in my opinion, I feel like it's almost illegal. It's like false advertising in a way.
Advertising.
Yeah.
And it's not fair, and they're getting them for so cheap. We've ordered stuff, and in their defense, these Chinese manufacturers, they'll say whatever they can to get your business, and so these people, they just kind of go on their word, and they don't, they don't really realize maybe
they don't really care because they're selling in such quantity.
Yes.
In such volume that you lose one person, they got 10 more people to pick up the slack.
Exactly.
And I'm sure the profit's so good for them.
Oh, they're getting these shears for $15-$20 a piece.
Yeah, it's like a 350% profit margin. Like, it's unheard of.
And there are some legitimate, like, Korean companies. Korea is actually known for spending the money to import Japanese steel. But even, like, I don't know if you've ever seen Hitachi 440C. I'm sure you've probably seen that as advertised. You can simply go and email Hitachi Metals yourself and ask them. They'll tell you they do not certify anything that is advertised as Hitachi 440C because they stopped making it in 2011.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And people are still selling this stuff.
And that's what our company really stands for too, is just like,
integrity.
We'll take the time to email these people and to find a translator to try to talk to somebody in Japan, and we'll go through these processes because we know that stylists have so much other, excuse my language, but we have so much other shit to deal with.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, because I would see a shear and immediately, like, I'm from New Jersey, northeast area,
Right.
and it's like, all right, cool, it's more money, it must be better.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, that one's 800. Oh, that one's 12. Well, the 1200 must be that much better. So let me buy the $1,200 one.
Exactly. And it's literally just somebody sitting in an office going, how much do you think somebody would pay for this one? Oh, I don't know, maybe like 12. Let's write 12.
Yeah. And it works. And it works for
Yep.
for any of the stylists out here too, because you're charging a lot for a haircut, and you feel like you owe it to your client to buy a better shear, because you can, obviously it's the person holding the tool, but if I can cut better with that scissor, I can cut a straighter line, a better bob. I can add. I just could become a better stylist with a better shear.
And that's how they sell us on it. Is they're like, well, you need Hanzo's such a status symbol. You need this shear. Like, you need this new shark fin finger ring system or whatever. Yeah. And in reality, like, there should not be any necessity. You shouldn't have to upgrade your equipment once a year. You shouldn't have to upgrade your equipment twice a year or 3 times a year, or
once every 5 years even. Like,
right.
If you buy a good pair of shears, it should last you 20 plus years.
Right.
No bullshit. My Nicks I had them for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. And there's 20 years. And we're not trying to throw people under the rug or anything like that, because I've done so much research as far as just searching different companies to see what offers what and who offers what and what they say they offer. And there's a lot of companies out there that do sell good quality, only ATS 314 or VG10, which is an actual thing, and it's almost just as good as ATS. But those companies aren't here in America. Those companies are over in Europe and Ireland and stuff. And it blows my mind, that, like. So
you guys are throwing out like numbers and letters and shit at us, right?
Yeah.
For the people watching. Now, how do stylists access that information on, if they have a pair of shears? Is there like a stamp or a mark on their shears that they can see, that they can recognize what kind of quality? And this is every shear across the board then, right?
Yes.
Like when
technically speaking, yes. Authentically speaking, yes.
Okay.
They should say on them. Some don't.
I don't know if you can even see that. But.
So I don't know if my fingerprint's all over there. I don't know if you can. Like, on the back of your shears,
it should stay steel quality.
Yeah, it should write like the product number or like the identifier for that company, and then underneath of it should be labeled with the steel quality. If it's not, 9 times out of 10, that's because it's like
shit.
What you would assume Chinese. You were getting from like Sally's or something.
Well, the thing is too, like, I'm not trying to throw China under the bus, but I mean, Asia in itself is known for knockoffs everything, whether it's Gucci, Louis Vuitton, sneakers. Like, it's just where they manufacture knockoffs. And do you think
they've gotten really good at it?
They've gotten excellent.
And and we've tried to, when we reached out to Yamamura, so people refer to ATS 314 as Hitachi 314. In my research that I've done, and I've actually emailed back and forth with, his name is Dr. Yamamura. His father's the one who started Yamamura. Yamamura created ATS 314 based off of ATS 34, which was a steel blade quality from Hitachi Metals. And because Hitachi Metals was so good at making it, Yamamura said, hey, we are going to make this for our shears, but we want you to make it. So Hitachi actually makes ATS 314 for Yamamura.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But Yamamura is the only person that really actually you can, get it from, and it's provided from. And, and so And it's very well known that they stamp everything on the inside of their shears that says made in Japan.
Yeah.
Do you have visions of shears and all the Japanese
Yeah, I
words
think
in your
so.
head at night, like when you
I
sleep
think
at night?
so.
Like
You
he'll
should-
wake up and be like, "Oh, babe, we have to order this one. We have to get this one next time. It's just we have to."
Yeah, I didn't really understand when she kind of, I'll be honest, I helped push her kind of into this when I found out what she was going through with that other shears company. And then I started doing research and just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
So we touched on the steel. I think enough for the average consumer to realize that you guys know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Education wise, take us through like when you go to a class, like how do you, I can't even say sell it because the scissors almost sell themselves, I bet, when someone cuts
Right.
with them, right? But what kind of information do you give people who just dumped all this money in a pair of shears and now it's like, I'm not happy with them? Like,
Yeah.
how do you convince them to buy a pair of shears from you guys?
I don't know if
This is,
convincing-
yeah, it's gonna sound really cocky when I say this, but like it's not that hard to convince somebody into purchasing a good product. Like,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I remind people is that like I'm a stylist for stylists. Like I would not be selling you something or suggesting something even to you that I wouldn't use myself or recommend for a family member to use.
Do
You
you
know,
guys
like,
offer a guarantee on your
I
site?
offer a guarantee. I
Yeah.
guarantee that you'll
Yeah.
love them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
far as any type of like manufacturer defect, anything like that, it's lifetime warranty.
Oh shit, really? Lifetime.
Oh yeah.
Because
Like, because
So
the
that-
shears should hold up for a long time.
See, which is wild because I've always heard, oh, you should get a pair of new shears every 2 years.
Yeah,
that's
because
absurd.
because big brands have been in charge for so long.
I think
That's what everybody thinks the norm is. It's
I've,
not.
I've always had them longer because
Yeah.
I don't see dumping that much money in shears, but I just buy another pair,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm
Sushi-
excited.
what is
What'd you say?
knives. Sushi chefs, I think, wait over 2 years just to get their knives.
Yeah.
Like that,
Really?
like true Japanese like sushi knives and good steel. So, yeah, it's meant to last. You should be buying something. And I think that's when we go into classes and you really kind of explain what we're coming from, the 400 years of blacksmithing in Sanjo and,
Right.
the quality that's behind it, people
Now-
understand.
Now, when I first bought my Hanzos, my friend messaged me on Instagram because I posted a picture or something of him, and he loves talking shit regardless. He's my buddy Frank. He's like,
We always have that
Tho-
one friend.
those are shit. Throw them out. You waste your money. Give them back. He goes, those shears. I guess he said they're not handmade. They're
They're not.
machine made.
They're stamped.
So break it down. What's the difference between a handmade and a machine made or stamped? Because I would think like handmade could leave room for imperfections, but
So it's actually basically the complete opposite. So when they're handmade, there's just way more attention to detail when they're handmade. They're they're not just sent out in a big like bin full of other shears or other material that was just stamped out in it with a big machine, with no attention to detail, no attention to like what actually needs to happen with the shears.
I guess it's kind of like clothes. And if you hand make like if a pocketbook or a shirt or a suit and you hand stitch it, that makes perfect sense because it's completely custom tailored. Every detail is there for you, custom made towards you,
Right,
or
exactly.
for your body. So a shear could be made, I guess, exactly the same way. I never really thought of it like that. What is a good size for somebody to start with? Because in beauty
So-
school, go ahead.
This is the absolute easiest way to tell, okay? You take this part of your fingers. You take this part of your shear, your pivot point or your tension screw, and you just line it up like right on the crook of your finger right there and measure it with your middle finger. So these are a 5.5, and I only know that, well, aside from the fact that I know that because these are my shears, but I know that because that's what size my finger fits. So like if it were to sit up higher like that, that's how I would know it's way too long. And that's why most people cut themselves, because they're getting shears that are just based on, oh, those are pretty, I want those. And they don't care about the length. And then they, end up in the hospital needing a stitch. Not speaking from personal experience at all.
But there's no better quality cutting whatever that a shear can provide for you if it's bigger or smaller than, right?
I mean, you can get through a haircut a lot quicker with, a beefier blade, a thicker, longer blade, obviously, but that's just because you can get more hair in it,
Okay.
So obviously you're going to go quicker.
So I could take bigger sections then with a bigger blade.
Yeah, with like a thicker blade. So like
Oh,
these
thicker,
ones are
okay.
super thin.
Not just longer.
Yeah,
you're saying
no,
thicker.
the thickness of the blade
Okay.
matters too, like the width of it.
Oh, so
I feel like
my
I'm blowing your mind.
you are. I honestly, I just buy. Oh wow, that one's nice. How much? Cool. Give it to me. It feels good in my hand.
Exactly, because we weren't taught this stuff in cosmetology school.
And I just have one more question for you guys in terms of maintenance of them.
Okay.
Now, not just your shears, but everyone's shears. Like,
Right.
what do people need to do to keep their shears cutting well? And do you have to, besides wiping down, spraying with like a lubricant or
Yeah.
oil, or should you oil the pivot? Should you not oil them? How do you clean them? Like,
So
how do you?
the way that I recommend it, and everybody's gonna have something to say about whatever, it doesn't matter. The way that I clean my shears, I try to reach for like a barbicide wipe just because I know that that is like the best disinfectant that you can get. Like, and you're getting all the crap off the shears, you're moving the hair off the shears, whatever. So just go for like some type of disinfectant that's, or even just straight rubbing alcohol would work with like a
Okay.
microfiber cloth. And just gently wipe your blades off, make sure all the hair's out of there. And then what I do with my oil, and I've just been using my clipper oil. I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody's going to say that there's some type of fancy oil that I'm supposed to purchase, but clipper oil has always been my go-to. And I literally just stick it like right on the where my two blades meet, and then just like swoosh them together to get the
Okay.
oil all the way down the blade. You don't need a whole lot of it. You know, it's like when you oil your
Clippers
clipper
or
blades. Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, you want to let
'Cause
the tool work through it.
There's times when I'm cutting and I feel like friction in my shear.
Yeah. Oh, that's bad.
And it's probably just because of like the way that they're sit. You
Yeah.
have somebody sharpened them and they don't sit
Yeah.
quite right, or like even
Your
like,
tension screw could be damaged as well. Like the ball bearings in the tension screw could be like releasing or tightening
Yeah.
every time you snip.
Once I spray like a little of the clipper oil in there, it
Yeah.
helps it. And then it maybe because I'm going from wet to dry, and I'm
Maybe.
so busy, I'm doing cutting, I'm doing coloring. Sometimes I leave my shears there after haircut, and I don't wipe them down.
Oh, yeah.
And, so it's important to wipe them down after every haircut.
yeah.
At least wipe them down.
Yeah.
Even with just like the towel that you use to
Okay.
towel dry their hair. You don't want to use dry because then you'll end up scratching or chipping your shears. But it doesn't need to be like sopping wet either, because then it can cause.
Oh,
like,
really?
rust
No, a
and
dry
shit.
shear. I mean, a dry towel can scratch my shears.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you just never know what's in it.
Exactly. Like
Okay.
if you didn't realize that there's like a little piece of like nail glue or something on there and you run it down your shears. So yeah, that's why I say just grab like a damp towel,
Yeah.
Nice soft microfiber cloth, and just get the hair off of it.
So how do people find you on the internet then? Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff.
Got it all. So
Okay.
Instagram, it's
all pretty much just Ivy Ann Shears.
Yeah.
So we know how to find you guys. I want to thank you so much for chiming in. I really am blown away by how much you know about steel. And any questions or comments that they have, if they want to reach out to you directly, is Instagram cool for them to reach out to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, reach out to them. If you have any questions, if you want to order a pair of shears and you don't know which one to get, message
Shoot
them
me a
and
message.
they will
I
point you in the
I
right
always tell
direction.
people too, if you want to reach out, send her a text. Like her phone number is all over everything. Like
Everything is a direct line to me personally.
or when
like,
I've set it
everything.
up so that when we get a new visitor, if you had like a little chat bubble that says, hey, can we help you with anything? That's her sending like
really?
a personal message. It's
That's
not like
awesome.
a bot. Yeah, it's
You know, and that's the one thing I think that's going to separate you guys from the other shear companies out there is the fact that you can actually talk to a human being.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I hate is when I contact someone in the chat, the bubble comes up. It's like, how can I help you? And it's just a bunch of routine questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Blows my mind. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Don't even put it up then. Don't even have the chat feature up
Exactly.
there. You can't answer me.
and I don't ever want that to change either. I don't think I think we both, because of the education part is so important. I don't think we ever wanted that to change.
No.
That's huge. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for enlightening us with this sheer knowledge and steel knowledge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna come back with the next video, and I'm gonna actually use your shears, and I'm gonna do a demonstration on how, from a 20+ year stylist, how I love them.
We appreciate you having us. Definitely.
No, not a problem at all. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys when I make that video.